Next, I'd like to welcome former Congressman Jim Colby, who's a member of our board of directors. He served in the U.S. Congress for 22 years, and I think he's now served on our board of directors for 12. And he's going to introduce our next award recipient.
And maybe we can get the lights back up wherever they are, back there. Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and thank you all for coming here. It's a great honor for me to introduce our next award recipient, which is Senator Todd Young, the senior senator from Indiana. Todd has been an absolutely tireless supporter. He's on the Foreign Relations Committee, and he's been a tireless supporter of human rights in the Middle East. He's been dogged in his efforts to try to make sure that the Khashoggi murder is brought to light and that the people who are responsible for that are held accountable. He's introduced more than at least 22 resolutions in Congress disapproving arms sales to Saudi Arabia until they are willing to come forward with the truth about what happened there. He has been absolutely tremendous in working across the aisle. This is one of the things that in this day of such polarization that I think is so very special. He's willing and he's able to work across the aisle with his colleagues and on the other side of the aisle. And because of that, we have a much better foreign policy in the Congress than we would otherwise. So it's a great honor and a great pleasure for me to introduce Senator Todd Young. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Very kind. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Jim. You've been a friend for a number of years now. I'm grateful for your leadership. So grateful for POMED and for what you stand for. I'm grateful to the leadership, many of whom are indeed standing in the back of the room, the ladies, as opposed to the preening men at the front of the room. I'll count myself here. I am humbled and maybe a little bit embarrassed to be an award recipient tonight. When I heard from the other award recipients and the sacrifices they have had to endure in order to make a meaningful difference in Saudi Arabia and other places, I just think it is most impressive. I feel like I've done my job, and I'm here to thank all of you for engaging with our office. So many of you have offered counsel as we have tried to navigate a very complicated situation in the Middle East. And because of your educational exercise, we have, I think, through our office, through my National Security Advisor, Brant Anderson, who's present here today, we've been able to uphold American values, which after all are indeed universal values. We have been able to shine a bright light on violations of international humanitarian law by our security partners, Saudi Arabia in particular, in Yemen. We have, with your assistance, been able to facilitate the delivery of food, fuel, and medicine to the people of Yemen, ensuring that our government remembers that food must never be used as a weapon of war. And recently, just weeks ago, I had an opportunity, along with Senator King, to visit with Mohammed bin Salman. We're the first senators to do so in the wake of the horrific Jamal Khashoggi murder. And the first issue that Senator King and I addressed to MBS was the Khashoggi killing. We want answers. We want justice to occur. That killing, to say nothing of the 20 million people who are on the brink of starvation and whose lives have not only been complicated, but the situation aggravated by our own security partners, their behavior needs to improve. And if they weren't hearing it from other places in Washington, they needed to hear it from the Senate of the United States of America. And so continue to help us carry that message. Thank you for your encouragement. We will continue to work on this so that maybe someday we do have democracy throughout the Middle East, which I know is the ultimate goal. We want people to realize the full measure of their freedom and their God-given gifts. We're a long way away. Until then, we have to be very careful about how we disengage from the Middle East. And so I promise you I will be attentive to that issue among many others in coming days, weeks, and years. Thank you again for this honor.
Can we get a picture with you?
I've done this.